the only drills you will need to create a perfect golf swing. So it's pretty difficult to get a perfect golf swing, and it happens very, very few times if we're lucky. What I'm going to give you today is 3 exercises that help encourage all the things we'd want for a perfect golf swing. Let's get stuck in. So for me, a perfect golf swing comes from good balance, good rotation, a good arc to the swing or good plane to the swing, and low point control. If we get those 3 things correct, then we've got a fighting chance of creating a perfect golf swing. So the first thing that always goes wrong with people is how they stand to the golf ball. So I want to give you one thing that focuses on the stance, one thing that focuses on the arm body motion, and then one thing that focuses on the low point. So initially, standing correctly to the golf ball, we're going to do it very simply. If I take the golf club, put my grip on it, and we're going to assume we've got a good grip, because that'll give us good club face control, but we want a good neutral grip. Take a rough stance to the ball, then stand tall as you can. Club outstretched, arms outstretched, so it's pretty much parallel with your belly button. Then from there, bend and bow from your hips. And we want that club to meet the ball in the same kind of location that we'd always want it to meet, in the center of the club face. So I need to pull it in just a touch, and then from there, just flex my knees. The last thing to do from there would be just to bump my hips a touch towards target. In doing so, what that does is help the spine line up better, so it helps me rotate and load the right side during the backswing, and it also helps keep the lower half ahead during the downswing. So from this position, I want the right arm tucked in, and I want about a handspan away from my thigh. Fist and the thumb to a handspan, somewhere around there. So we want to feel that bow and bend and a little bump. That is the setup position we want you to be in every single time. So the first drill is standing to the golf ball better from a better setup. When we stand correctly, it allows us to have the correct balance. If we get those hips in the right location, it allows us to turn and load without swaying or standing up during the swing. All these things help the radius and the plane of the swing. So we're already starting off with a better kind of plane control and low point control from standing correctly. So the stance generally is the first point of breakdown. Now, I didn't discuss ball position or feet flaring or anything like that. I'm trying to keep this quite simple, quite concise to 3 drills that are going to help you play better. We would want the feet flared, we want the ball in the center for a kind of mid-iron, but let's just try and go bow and bend, ball in the center, feet slightly flared if you can, but if not, the feet can be just straight for this drill to start with. I'm not too worried about that. Let's get into drill number 2. So drill number 2, and this is one of my favorite drills. You would have seen this probably on my channel before if you were a regular viewer. Take an alignment rod and put it under the trail arm. And for me, just keep that connected. Let the left arm just touch that. Keep it nice and solid against that rod. That kind of gives us the length of a swing when we get the touch. It helps get the right arm folding correctly. It also means if I collapse the arms, I won't make the contact. Also, I can see where this rotates to. I can rotate it over to the right. So we're trying to do that. We're trying to get it to rotate over to the right, left arm touch. Keep connected with it on the downswing. Keeps the right arm pressure with the rib cage more so and the pec area on the downswing. So it helps create the right direction, length of the swing, and width of the swing. So we talked about there, building the foundations from a good setup, building the correct kind of direction to the swing and rotation of the swing with the rod under our arm. It also helps to follow through in terms of, again, if we keep the rod, helps us work more on a circle, keeping that pressure here, this pressure point here, which is important for release, and then it helps the hand path work more in. So it gives us a lot of things for free. As I said, we're starting with a good foundation. We're moving the club on the right, let's call it arc orientation, the right length, the right width. And then the last drill we will cover will be about low point control. So this one here, we're just going to try and hit a ball now, keeping that rod. It might feel a bit wooden compared to what you normally do, but it will certainly start to get you, let's call it calibrated is the word I'd use, getting those arms and body in a much better organization, structure, and consistency. So again, starting good, moving it consistently around our body. Now let's land the club in the right spot to give us that pure contact. So landing the club in the right spot comes from a dynamic shift. So we're laterally shifting 5-6 inches on the way down. All great players move laterally. They get this kind of reverse C position at impact. And I know a lot of amateurs are scared of that. And again, you can obviously overdo this, but what we see with most amateurs is more this kind of shape at contact as opposed to this shape. Whereas all good players have this kind of shape at impact. So what we want to do is make sure we get the lateral movement and get the hands forward. The hands creating that slight shaft lean at contact. Any amount of shaft lean will give you nice feeling contact. Best players in the world have 11 degrees of shaft lean and a slight rotation in the arm to keep the face square. What I see with most amateur golfers, it's more like 0 and the club head overtaking the hands at contact. So what I want you to do to feel the right impact is go left hand only and try and dig the ground as far forward as you can using your shift in your feet and your hips to encourage it to go forward. Trying to feel like the hands ahead of the club head. Just try not to let your head go forward as you do it. So it's that kind of dynamic action. And using your left hand will create a bit more dominancy and again, strengthen the left hand to help encourage this happen more in this area of the swing. I have no problem with people using the right hand and keeping the right hand what we call extended back. It's exactly the same thing. I tend to feel it makes a bigger difference with the lead hand in my own golf swing and in my own feels, but I would have no problem in left or right hand as long as it's done correctly. If you feel really right side dominant, and I am, trust me, then sometimes feeling the right hand, but the right hand will always want to do this. It'll always want to throw. All the forces and gravity are all making the shaft want to do that. We're not stopping that, we're just trying to make sure it happens later. So again, we can create the maximum speed at contact and that low point later. That's all we're trying to do. So once we've got that feel, take that to the ball. Again, you can do a mini bow and bend, little bump. And try and get that dynamic impact through the ball. And the strike will feel pure. You'll get a slight bit of turf after the golf ball, and you get the flights, which will be penetrating, and the longest version of you can be. So for me to create a perfect swing, if it exists, these 3 drills kind of cover most things people do wrong. Tilt and turning, arm length, arm width, arm direction, and low point control, pressure shift, and that kind of dynamic impact. So these 3 drills encourage those 3 things. So what I'd encourage you to do, if you wanted just to encourage these 3 things to make your swing more perfect, you might do 20 balls at each of these drills and finish with 10 balls that are normal. And if you did that regularly in between rounds, I'm sure, positive, certain, that would make a difference to your game. Give it a go and let me know how you get on.